Hello, my people. It's my hope that you are well. On my board, with me here, I have a flowchart, and don't panic. We are not in a chemistry lesson. Maybe the last time we interacted with the flowchart, you are dealing with the survey process where you are trying to show the process of preparing, I think, sodium carbonate. And now that you are not so good in balancing those equations, you might see such a thing and get to panic, but relax. In this channel, we don't discuss chemistry, but we discuss basic personal finance concepts. And with me here, I have a flow chart that is a simple diagram that you can use to tell whether investing is the best step you can take right now, or there are some other things you should do before getting to start your investment journey. So it's a very simple flow chart, and allow me to take you through in the next few minutes. So this is where we get to start, and the first question that you should get to ask yourself is whether you have an emergency fund. So an emergency fund, I would say it is a kitty that has been set aside somewhere that can cater for your needs if you are no longer if your cash flow is interrupted. Let's use that term. If your income is interrupted, do you have a kit that you'll get to run to? Like, if you are told that you will not be getting salary at the end of the month of January, will you have some cash to pay your rent? Will you have some money to feed yourself or your family? So that is what we call an emergency fund. And if the answer to that question is, so this should be a question, in fact, all these are questions. And if the answer to that question happens to be no, then the flowchart tells us that investment is not the best step you can take. So, do you have an emergency fund? No. Investment is not the best decision you can take. But that does not mean that you don't have to do anything about your finances. Instead of starting to invest, you should save at least 3 to 6 months of your expenses. So instead of thinking of how to invest, you should think of how you should think about creating an emergency fund first. So create at least 3 to 6 months of living cost. And the reason as to why you are told about 3 to 6 months, it is because 3 to 6 months is considered to be a long time for you to be able to dust yourself and get to be on the road again. So 3 to 6 months is considered to be a long time for you to decide and get to take the next move. So if your answer was no, this is what you should do. You should strive towards creating an emergency fund that should contain at least 3 to 6 months of your living cost. These are living costs are that cost that you have to incur for you to survive. And if your answer to that question happens to be yes, you go to another question. You get to ask yourself another question. Do you have any high interest paying debts? So if you have an emergency fund, then do you have any high interest paying debts? Do you have any high interest debts? If your answer is yes, you are not ready to invest. So if you have any high interest debts, don't rush to investing. Instead, what do? You will be better if you first pay off the debts. I can promise you that there is no very few investment will give will give returns that are higher than the interest that you are paying for loan. So there is no need to pay an interest of some loans have even interest of above 20%. There's no need to pay an interest of 20% on loans. Then you get to earn an interest of 10% from an investment. It is better you clear this debt off so that you can ease yourself the burden of paying a high interest. So if your answer is yes, you are not ready to invest. Instead, first focus on paying off that high interest debt. Then, if your answer is no, that you have an emergency fund and you don't have a high paying job, do you need that money that you want to do you need that money anytime soon? And if your answer is yes, you are not ready to invest that money. You should set aside enough for expected spending. For example, suppose you get paid on 30th, and now that is the money that you are talking about, the money that you receive from your salary on the 30th, and you know your debt is, your rent is due on 5th, the next month. So do you need that do you need that money anytime soon? Yes, you need that money to pay your rent. So you can't rush to invest that money. So first of all, put aside all the money that you need. You know that you surely need it anytime soon before you can think of investing. And if your answer is no, you have an emergency fund. You don't have any high interest debt, then you don't need that money anytime soon. You ask yourself, do you understand the investment? Number one, okay, it is good to say that you might disagree with me, regardless of how an investment sounds good from the mouth of another person. Or appears to, or someone else appears to be making so much from an investment. Don't make a mistake of investing in something that you don't understand. Always ensure that you understand whatever that you are putting your money into, so that even if the probability of making losses are high, you'll be aware of that. If the risk of that investment is too high, at least you'll be aware of that, and you'll not be caught unawares. So if you don't need that money anytime soon, do you understand? Do you thoroughly understand the investment? No. If you don't understand the investment, you are not ready to invest. What should you do instead? Take time and do your research. So if you are not aware, if you don't understand the investment, take time to do your research. But if you understand the investment, you are ready to invest. So before you get to the point of getting ready to invest, you should have an emergency fund. You should not have any high interest debt. You should not be needing that money soon, and you should have a free understanding of the investment that you want to take. So that is the whole concept of this flowchart, and I hope that you have learned a thing, and you can see at every step you are given an alternative of what you are supposed to do. So maybe it is just to suggest that at any point you must have something that you can do about your finances. What do you think about the concept?